Hello friends, Henok here. In this beginner tutorial, I'm gonna show you the basics of animation in Blender. We will cover keyframes, timeline, graph editor, frame rate, animation modifier, camera animation, rendering, and at the end of this tutorial, I will show you how to animate this mushroom and rendering the final animation with a little compositing. So, let's get into it. In Blender, animation works using keyframes over time. So, what is keyframe? In animation, a keyframe is a marker that stores a properties at a specific time. Think of it as a snapshot. For example, a keyframe might record that an object's X position is 3 units on frame 1. Then, if you set the second keyframe on frame 50 with the object at X 6 units, Blender will interpolate the motion between them automatically. Let's see a simple example. At this point, don't worry about following this example. Just try to understand the concept. Right here, I'm gonna hit Shift A, then I'm going to add in a cube. Then I'm going to hit I, then I'm gonna choose location. Let's jump over to frame 50, then hit GX followed by 6, then I location. You see that? When I play my animation, Blender automatically interpolates the actions between these two frames. Let me show you. You see that? It is very sweet. Let me change my end to 50 and let me show you it. And also, we have the keyframes right here. You may be asking yourself what exactly this is. It is just a timeline. So, what is timeline? It is a type of editor located at the bottom of your layouts, and it is your main animation control panel. It shows the current frame and keyframes for the selected objects. Let's have a look at some parts and buttons of timeline. Let's start with the first one. It is Auto King. This button will allow you to add a keyframe whenever you update the location, the rotation, or any value of the selected object. The second one is useful to jump over to the first frame. The handy shortcut for this button is Shift plus right arrow. This button will allow you to jump over to the previous keyframe like this. So let me move my keyframe over there. Then let me show you. If I hit this, it will bring my playhead to this keyframe right here. The third one is play back button. It will play your animation backward. The next one is play animation button. It will play your animation forward. The hand shortcut for this one is hitting space on your keyboard. This one will allow you to jump over to the next keyframe. The final one will help you to jump over to the end of your timeline. Okay, this thing right here will show you your current frame, and also you can adjust the start and the end frames of your animation range right here for the start and for the end. Okay, now let's talk about how we can insert a keyframe. As I told you, to animate something, you insert keyframes. To add a keyframe, there are few options. The first one is the I key option. Let me show you the I key option on my viewport. If I hit I on my keyboard where my cube is selected, I got something like this. So if I choose the location, my keyframes will only record my location information. So if I choose rotation, it will incorporate the rotations as well. If I hit I, then if I choose scale, it will also add the scale on my keyframes. If I hit I and if I choose location and rotation scale, it will apply for all of our values. The I key option is very important. Let's say, let me remove these keyframes. Then let's hover over these values right here. Then if I hit I, Blender will then record the value at the current frame. This works for almost any property like location, rotation, scale, material, color, etc. After inserting, you will see a diamond marker on the timeline. Quick tip right here. You can use Alt plus I to remove your keyframes. If I hit Alt I, then if I hit delete keyframes, this will remove my keyframes. Like this. Now let's talk about the relationship between keyframe color codes and keyframe. Let me insert a keyframe on this object, I location gx I location. Okay. Blender uses color highlights to show keyframe status. When a property value is yellow, it means a keyframe is set on the current frame, like this. If the value is green, like this, it means the property is animated or has a keyframe, but not on this frame. Let's talk about gray color. Gray usually means there is no keyframe at all, like this one. In summary, yellow means keyed here, green means keyed elsewhere, Gray means no active keyframe or held value. There it is. My rotation is turned into yellow, which means there is a keyframe at that frame, and my location is turned green, which means there is a keyframe, but it is not at this exact frame. So let's answer the question, what can be animated in Blender? So in Blender you can animate almost anything. You can keyframe objects, transform and bone poses in armatures. You can also keyframe colors, textures, light intensity, physics settings, and more. Just hovering over anything that has a value and pressing I will insert a keyframe. Let's test it. Let's go over to scale, hover over it, then hit I on your keyboard. Make sure that your object is selected, then hit I right here. It will set a keyframe. Now let me show you a simple example. I'll delete my cube, then I'm gonna add in a monkey head. I'm going to split up a new window from this corner, shader editor, then I'm gonna jump over to my material preview mode. Right here I'm gonna create a new material for this monkey. I'm gonna call it demo 1. Okay, I'm gonna hit X on my keyboard to remove that principal base def. Then I'm gonna add an animation texture, enable bloom right here. Okay, now let's animate the location of my Suzanne. So I'm gonna add a keyframe right here, hover over it, hit I, then let's jump over to frame 50 using shift left arrow or using this button. Then I'm gonna move this thing on y-axis like -10 meter, G, Y, -10. Then I'm gonna hit I, it will set a keyframe right here. If I play my animation using spacebar or clicking this button, you can see my object is moving. Let's say you want to animate the strength of your emission as well, or the color. Just as we do for the location, hit I on your color, then go over to your like 25, maybe let's try 25. Then I'm gonna choose in blue color, then I'm gonna hit I, then I'm gonna jump over to my last frame, then I'm gonna choose in red, then I'm gonna hit I right there. Then let me change my strength to 5. If I hit space, you can see my object location and color is changing through time. This is like the basic concept of animation. Now let's talk about frame rate or FPS. The frame rate or FPS determines how many frames play in 1 second. The higher FPS means a smoother motion but requires more frames. Common frame rates are 24 FPS for film, 30 FPS for TV shows and some website videos, or 60 FPS for very smooth or fast animation. In Blender's output property, right here, you can choose your FPS rate. For example, the default one is 24 fps, while 60 fps can make fast animation look smooth. Changing the FPS effectively changes the timing of your keyframes. Let's have a look at some examples. So if I add in a new cube, I'm gonna set my end frame to 250, then I'm gonna hit I location, then I'm gonna move my keyframe to the end using the shift left arrow key or this button, then I'm gonna hit GY, then I'm gonna hit I location, then AT. We are gonna talk about interpolation later, but just choose linear. Then when I hit play, you can see my cube is moving too slow. Then when I change my FPS from 24 to 60, you can see my object is moving fast than the 24 frame. You can see that when I change this to 60, it starts to move very fast than 24 FPS. Now let's talk about moving and deleting keyframes. You can edit keyframes in timeline, dropsheet, or graph editor. To move a keyframe, select it, then hit G on your keyboard to move your keyframe. Or you can drag and move it with your mouse. To remove your keyframe, you can hit X on your keyboard, then choose delete keyframe, or right click, then you can choose delete keyframe. Now let's talk about duplicating keyframes. To duplicate your keyframe, you can hit Shift D on your keyboard, then move your mouse. You can see there is this orange line appeared, which means the animation is uniform until the duplicated keyframe. I'm gonna remove it with X. The second way to duplicate is you can hit right click, then duplicate, then you can move your duplicated keyframe wherever you want. Then the third one is just let's go over here and set this to 0. Then if like the same value with the frame 1, the frame 1 records for the location X, Y, and Z are 0. Then when I turn this to 5, you can see the Y is changed. So I'm gonna set it back to 0. Then when I hit I, then location, or right here, you can see I duplicated my keyframe like this. Now let's talk about interpolations. To achieve this, I'm gonna add in a plane, then I'm gonna scale it 2 times bigger. Right here, I'm going to add in an icosphere, and I'm gonna subdivide it 6 times to make it smoother. Shade smooth. Maybe I'm gonna scale my plane 5 times bigger. Then let me put my sphere on the plane like this. Then I'm gonna hit G, Y, or X. Then I'm gonna hit I location. Then I'm gonna move to, let me set my frame into 50. Then I'm gonna hit GX. Then I'm gonna move my object right here, location. Then when I play my animation, you can see it start to slow. At the middle it get faster, then at the end it get slower. So this phenomenon is created by interpolations. So the default one is Bezier. So Bezier means your animation will start slow, getting faster at the middle point, then getting slow at the end frames. Then when I hit T again, there is something called linear. Just linear interpolation will make your animation constant. There is no speed change. Then to visualize the first one, the constant, let me create more animations. At frame 20, I'm gonna move my object on y-axis at the middle, maybe something like this. Then at the end, I'm going to move my keyframe like there. So when I play my animation, you can see it right there. Okay. Then when I hit T, then when I choose constant, there is no change until that current frame. Then when it plays, you can see it changes its position. Then when it gets to the last, it will change the location. This effect is very useful to create some smashing animation. So I'm gonna delete my keyframes. I'm gonna move my object on my x-axis, then I will just hit G on z-axis, and I'm gonna move my object up. Then I'm going to add in a location keyframe. Then I'm gonna move to my end frame. Then I'm going to hit G. Then I'm gonna bring this down like this. Then I'm gonna hit location. So our ball is basically falling down. So when I hit T, now I'm going to show you the dynamic effect. The easing effect is not essential for you for now. So when I choose back, when I play this one, it's going to pass that position where you set in your last keyframe. Then it will go back to the last position where you set the last movement. Then I'm gonna hit AT, then I'm gonna choose bounce. This will create bouncing effect like a ball. Now I'm going to choose elastic. This will create some elastic animation, I'd say, and it look very cool. Now let's talk about graph editor. So to open my graph editor, I'm gonna split up a new window like this. Then I'm gonna change this to graph editor. I'm going to change mine to Bezier. Okay, now let's talk about graph editors. So the graph editor lets you see and edit animation curves or F curves for each animation and animated property. Instead of points like this keyframe, you will see curves with handles. The height of the curve right here will change the values of the property. So if I move this up, you can see my object right here is also moving because I am changing the height of my keyframe. So let me hit G, and if I move it forward like this, use your middle mouse click, it is going to change the timing when I move it front or back. Then when I move it up, I'm changing the actual values. You can see it right here on my location panel. Then when I move it front or back, you can see it right here. I'm changing the timing of my object. By adjusting the handles, you can change easing and smoothness of transitions. For example, you can make motion ease in or ease out by shaping the curve. The graph editor is powerful for fine-tuning how values change between keyframes. You can also select and move keyframes points here just like a drop sheet or a timeline. So right here, let's have a look at some example. You can see now my animation is too smooth. Let me change the value a bit like this. Then let me make this thing linear. I can just push this thing in like this, and this handle like this. Then when I play my animation is going to look linear, or just linear. You can see we got same effect with that modification. I'm gonna change my interpolation to Bezier. I'm gonna just move these points out like this. Now let's talk about animation modifiers. In the graph editor, you can add modifiers to F curves. This alters the mathematical position of your keyframes. A common example is the cyclus modifier. So I'm going to remove all of my modifiers for my sphere. Then I'm gonna add in a location, rotation, and scale. Then on frame 20, I'm going to move this thing down. Then I'm going to scale it up, rotate this thing. It's not visible, but let's do it anyway. Then I'm going to add it on frame 20. Then I'm going to jump over to the modifiers panel. Make sure that your keyframes are selected. Then there is cyclus modifier. You can turn the count up. I'm gonna just copy this. You can turn the count, just copy it, paste it, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste, and copy, paste. Cyclus modifier repeats or loops the animation curve indefinitely. So just I set my animation to be ended at frame 20, but it will repeat itself like this because there is cyclus modifier right here. So there are very cool features about modifiers. So let me show you the noise modifier as well. I'm going to select every keyframe, delete them, add in a location, rotation, and scale. Just do not add the second keyframe. Then I'm going to add in a noise. Something like this will do. Just copy, paste. Just try to copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Okay, at this point, don't forget to change the offset value right here to get variation between modifiers, and also you can play around the scaling, the strings, anything you want. So when I play my animation, you can see I got some movements according to these curves. I'm going to remove my keyframes. So now let's talk about camera animation. So you can animate the camera like any other objects. Move or rotate the camera and insert keyframe to create camera motion is possible. Let's switch to my camera view using this one. Then I'm going to add in a keyframe. Then I'm going to jump over to my end frame. Then I'm going to hit GZ. then I'm going to move this thing forward, then I'm going to add in a location, rotation, and scale. So you can see we got some camera animation. I'm going to set this to linear. If you are beginner, I recommend you to move your camera like very slowly, because laws of physics will influence cameras hardly than other objects. So you have to think law of inertia, something like that, because camera is a heavy object, so you can't move it immediately. So you have to think about like the mass or the law of the gravity of real life camera, the real life world. So I recommend you to move your camera realistically. So now let's see my animation that you saw in the beginning of this video. Okay, this is a file for that animation, so let's break it down. First I added a, let me hide this too. First I added a circle, then I scaled it down, then I started moving points. I'm going to extrude this on z-axis, EZ. I'm gonna scale this thing down, something like this. I'm gonna hit ES Shift Z. I'm gonna move this up, ES Shift Z, ES Shift Z, GZ, EZ, scale it down, GZ, scale it down, EZ, scale this thing down, GZ, scale it down, something like this. F to fill a face. I'm going to move this last row like this. Then I'm going to slide it down by using GG function. Then I'm going to add in a subdivision surface modifier. Then I'm going to add in loops right here to make it smoother. Then I'm going to add in a little size bigness for this thing, something like this will do. Then what I did for those scattering, I used icosphere GY, then added a displacement modifier, choose cloud, then choose whatever you want right here. Then I'm going to apply this, scale it down, and I'm going to duplicate this one, just move some vertices around with proportional editing. Just move this to a new collection, let's say demo scattering. Then I'm going to select my object, add in a new weight paint or a vertex group, then select upper faces. I'm going to select one, then I'm going to use Control plus, add in a new particle system. I'm going to choose hair. I'm going to choose in collection. Before we set our collection, choose your group as a density, then select this demo scattering. Then you can see we got something like this. Subdivide your mesh. I'm going to remove some of the scattering, then I'm going to use children's like two will do. Then create the materials, then scatter, apply the modifiers for this object. Then let me show you the original one. Okay, right here what I did for this object was I added a noise modifier for the scale like this, so the scale is dynamically changing over time like this. Just it is one keyframe. Then I added a bunch of noise modifier for the scale. Then for my scattering, okay, let me enable it. Then I scattered this object onto the plane like this. Then when I duplicated my particle system, I changed the scale value. For example, for the second one there is 0.4. For the first one I am using 0.06, just creating some variation for my plants. Then I used the mother right here. Just I added those keyframes for the mother, so those instances will follow the mother. Let me play it. You can see they are following their mother. Then I'm going to hide my particle system and my mushrooms. Then I'm going to jump over to my rendered view. Okay, there it is. We have this thing. Then when we play the animation, you can see the plane color is changing. So just I used a generated coordinate with the mapping. Then I keyframe the rotation, only one keyframe. Then I used some noise or modifiers to modify it randomly. Then for the strings I used some modifiers, the noise modifier and the limit modifier. Just the limit modifier is going to limit your values. You are going to set a limit, then it's going to limit it. Then when I play my animation, you can see it is changing dynamically right here, and also my animation is changing over here. So when I enable those, where is my plane? And okay, it's going to play slow. Okay, my PC is stuck there. Okay, that is actually good. Let me hide those. So let's talk about rendering animation. So when you are ready to output your animation, you render it. In the render properties, like right here, you are going to choose your render engine, Eevee or Cyclus. Cyclus here is more physically accurate, but it will take more time than Eevee. Eevee is more efficient for older PCs and for just render fast because it uses some approximation. You can choose whatever you want right here. Then on my output property, like right here, choose your resolution, your frame rate, your frame start and end, then your file location, then your format. I recommend you to render as PNG or EXR. If you render your videos as FFmpeg video, you can lose quality and also you can lose control over your render. Then when you are ready, just hit render animation. Now I'm going to teach you how you can change those rendered PNG images into a video. Just hit file, new. Then I'm going to change this to video editing. Do not save. Okay, right now I am in my video editing. Just hit add. Then I'm going to add in my image sequence from my tutorial content, animation basics, render demo 2. Then before you do anything, make sure that under this arrow sort by is set to name or alphabetically, so your animations will keep your sequence. Hit A on your keyboard to select all of them, then add image stripe. Then you can hit space to play your animations like this. Just choose FFmpeg video when you add your audios, your editing. Then just FFmpeg video like before. We are going to set output path for it. Where is my animation basics? Okay, just choose any name, accept. When you are ready, hit render animation, and also you can add some effects to it, but I'm going to show you the second way, which allows you to add effects using node system, and also it will allow you to edit your videos like DaVinci Resolve. So I'm going to change this to new general, do not save. Then before anything, delete everything, then change this to compositor window, use node. I'm going to replace my render layer with an image texture. Then I'm going to open my image, choose your name, open image like before. Then I'm going to preview this thing with Ctrl Shift or add a viewer node. Then when you hit this background, you can see your videos or your sequence right there. So let's composite this thing a little bit. I'm going to add a glare node, set this to full glow. Okay, it is visible. Then I'm going to add an RGB curves node. Then I'm going to add some contrast to it. Then I'm going to add a lens distortion node fit. Then I'm going to change this to 0.01. Then to make it even more contrasty, I'm going to add a bright contrast node after everything. Then I'm going to turn this value up like this. It's going to look very nice. Or under color management, you can change look to high contrast. It is very handy. Then when you are ready to render, this is very simple. Just like before, navigate where you want to save this thing, then name it, accept, then hit render animation, and see you in the next part. Thank you for watching. Bye everyone.